Hello and welcome to my channel, and in this video I am messing around with Yupo paper. Now, if you want to call it paper, I mean, it's technically, like, call it Yupo paper, but in reality, let's read off this piece of paper that I printed out with what it says this paper is made out of, which is why some people don't actually think that, or don't consider it a, like, paper, you know, because it's, yeah, well, you will see. Yeah, so it says, this is from the site, Yupo US site. So, Yupo is the recyclable, waterproof, tree-free, synthetic paper with attributes and properties that make it the perfect solution for a variety of marketing, design, packaging, and labeling needs. Yupo synthetic papers are extruded from polypropylene pellets. The process of extrusion occurs in our quarter-mile-long manufacturing facility. What does it matter if it's quarter-mile long? Located in Chesapeake, Virginia. The various grades, weights, and thicknesses of Yupo are spun into spools and lengths from 725 yards to 75,000 yards, which are cut into widths from 6 to 66 inches. After cutting and finishing has taken place, they are ready to ship to distributors and manufacturers for commercial and technical markets. See, this is why people don't actually think, or some people don't consider it actual paper, because it's made from polypropylene pellets, so it's plastic. It's plastic paper, we'll say loosely. It's a drawing film, yeah, exactly. So that's why it acts the way it's acting, and as you can see here, it spreads more because it kind of just goes all over the place. Now this is watercolor. I haven't tried inks on Yupo paper, so I'm not 100% sure how they act. I've seen some stuff which actually looks really cool, so I'm gonna try ink next. But this paper, well, I'm using quotation marks, like John said, film. It's very slick and smooth, and once it's something fell. once it's dry, you can't get this off. You can, unless you wet it, and then you can wipe it all off. It leaves a bit of mark on the paper, but you can reuse the paper to some degree. Like, once again, paper, quotation marks. It's a drawing film or drawing medium. You can make marks on it. Now, I'm not 100% fan because it looks like this. It's really, when it dries, it's really light, at least with watercolors and markers. I've tried markers too on it. I'm not a huge fan of the way it kind of is light. I've got like, this is not altered, but if I was going to show this, like, on, like, I'd alter it and put it, darken the stuff and lighten the stuff.
On saturation hue.
Yeah, definitely, because it's really, really pale here. But you can see how it just spreads, and I'm not a huge fan. So I decided, another experiment, see what my Posca pens will do on it. And they work. They're just really slick, and you have to remember, they take a while to dry on this, so you get you gotta watch where you put your hands. I ended up with, like, Posca over my hand and my wrist, because it just, once it's dry, it's fine. Yeah, I got it in front of me, and it's dry, and it's fine. You can touch it, but it takes a little longer to dry.
Because it's not absorbing in.
Exactly. And that's one of the big problems with this, because it's not technically paper. Nothing absorbs into it. So
it's a polypropylene film.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Yeah. So it's really hard. You can't control what you do with it. And some people like it. I'm not a huge fan. But it has its uses, we'll say. I've seen some really nice stuff done on it, but it can be really frustrating to people because you can't control it. And if what you want it to look like, it's not necessarily going to end up like that. So you have to realize that when using it, that you have to be really loose, because the way it dries, it doesn't exactly dry the way you would think, like, say, watercolors would on paper, or markers would act. Like I said, markers, I've used markers, and they do the same thing. They're quite light once they dry. But I mean, I kind of like the paper, but kind of don't. I've got, like, a love-hate relationship with it. But, like I say, every time I say paper, I'm putting quotations marks. I don't know why I do that, because you can't freaking see what I'm doing. Maybe, like, I keep meaning to set up another camera, but, you know, I don't, you know, then you can see how expressive my face is, and how, there's John's hand. He's like, try this color. I'm like, yeah, okay, try this color. And I just used to outline certain parts and stuff like that. And at this point, I'm just messing around to see what I can do with these markers. They don't blend properly, obviously, because, you know, if I had to use, like, actual, like, paint, like, rather than a marker form, it probably would have blended. But Poscas are notoriously hard to blend because of the nature of it, and I know that. And the white doesn't quite show up. I mean, white paint, like acrylic paint, probably would show up a little bit better, but in some areas it's very faint, so you have to go over it maybe once or twice. But it is what it is. It's paper that, once again, quotation marks, paper that some people like, some people are kind of like, nah, pass. And I can understand that. And now here I'm trying to get more ink. No, it's not ink, it's paint. No, it's not ink. I keep thinking it's ink, but it's paint out of the pen, so I can maybe kind of spread it around and see what it does. And see if it'll maybe blend or spread a little bit like the watercolors. And it's not thin enough. I'd have to add a bit of water, so if I used acrylics, it would, you know, thin down and it would spread a bit more than just sitting there in a glob and taking forever to dry, which is what happened with some parts of this. Like the purple, is it purple? Yeah. In the middle, it took forever to dry. I was like constantly like sort of touching it with my finger, which is probably why I ended up with paint all over my hand. But it's me. When I use paint, it ends up places. Same thing with charcoal. Charcoal ends up on my face. Pastels, for some reason, end up on my face. I don't know why. It's not like I touched my face. At least I don't think I touched my face. But anyway, this is it finished. I added, like I said, this is a saturation up, actually, and the values sort of up in some pairs of pieces. So it looks a little bit different from the previous one. It's a little bit more colorful. But with Yupo, like I said, you have to, when you scan it, you can't really sell it. Well, you can try maybe, but because if somebody gets it wet, it's just gonna wash away, and then they've lost the piece that they paid for. But I know some people do. But I'm not a huge fan of this. I keep trying because I'm determined to figure out how it works for me, but it's not really a paper, quotation marks, that I would recommend to anybody, really, because it can be so freaking frustrating to figure out how it works. And I mean, they say super smooth, prints consistently and effortlessly, holds ink with razor sharp precision. It's durable, it wipes clean, it's waterproof, will not tear, and it's bright white. Yeah, okay, it's bright white and it won't tear. Actually, I should test it. I don't actually know if it tears or not. I should find out. Just take a piece and see if it rips. And waterproof. Well, yeah, it's waterproof because it doesn't, it's plastic, so it's, you know, it's not gonna dissolve, in theory. You know, maybe if I put it in ISO it might dissolve, but I'm not gonna find out. Well, I could try. But anyway, so yes, thank you for listening to me rambling about Yupo paper, which you can decide if you want to try or not. Like I said, not a huge fan, but I keep trying for some reason because I'm a glutton for punishment. But, yeah, so next video is possibly a seascape, if I can get it finished. And then, we're into Drawtober. So I'm gonna try to post at least once a week, and then maybe like have like a couple bonus videos in between. And they might not be art related, they might be taste related because we got a bunch of chocolate. So yeah, so come back and see those. But yeah, so, and remember, what am I supposed to say? Remember to click, like, subscribe, and ring the bell, and all that other crap that we're supposed to say. And thank you for watching.